Be fruitful and multiply. It's in me to produce. I was born to produce. I got potential to produce. He gave me gifts to produce. He anointed me to produce. So it's like, I want peace, but I'm not just gonna sit at home and meditate all day. I got to do something. Is there any, am I talking to anybody? I got to do something. I got to build something. I got to write something. I got to start something. I've got to create something. I've been created to produce. Is there anybody honest enough to just admit, I'm not jealous, but I do get confused? Yeah. I don't want God to stop doing anything He's doing for you. I'm just confused as to why some things are not happening for me. I said, I got to get help. And Trayvon, Billy, it was so discouraging because I had an idea of what I wanted my life to be like, but I didn't have an example that was modeling it. I could find what I was looking for in people, but not in a person. It was like, I want his money, but not his marriage. Let me go to this side. Yeah, if I got to have that kind of marriage to get that kind of money, I just stick with the square footage I got, bro. I'm not sitting in no big house with somebody I don't like. Look at all this square footage, yeah. You know, I look at people like, man, I like that marriage, but I don't like that money. It was like, man, I see this person, they really peaceful. I like that. I want that disposition. I want that for my life. But I also want to be productive. Ontologically, I've been created for fruitfulness. Be fruitful and multiply. It's in me to produce. I was born to produce. I got potential to produce. He gave me gifts to produce. He anointed me to produce. So it's like, I want peace, but I'm not just gonna sit at home and meditate all day. I got to do something. Is there any, am I talking to anybody? I got to do something. I got to build something. I got to write something. I got to start something. I've got to create something. I've been created to produce. So I didn't have any examples. And what was weird is the people I would talk to had normalized being rich in one area and poor in another as a fact of life. And they would use words like sacrifice to describe pathways to prospering and success. And of course, you do have to give some things up to go up. But what they were giving up were things I felt like God wants us to keep. It's like he can't call himself the Prince of Peace and then tell me he'll give me peace that passes my understanding and then tell me I got to give that up to prosper. It's not making sense. And all the courses I was buying and the people I was watching was zeroed in on one area. And I said, I just don't believe it's supposed to be like this. And because I've always had what's called the kingdom consciousness, I'm like, man, I got to go back to the way the Creator originally intended for us to live. So I ain't getting the answers from people. I need to go to the Creator. And I saw something in Genesis 1:28 that's simple yet so profound. It says, and God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. I ain't even got time to talk about that. Yeah, fill it. Some stuff need to be here that wasn't here before you got here because you here. Fill it and subdue it, which means sometimes the thing that you create has the capability to create chaos. Y'all missed this? So you got to create. Did you hear what I just said? Yeah, chaos often follows creation. Creating this, we created this room, but creating this room creates some chaos. Some parking chaos, some logistics chaos, some hosting chaos. So you got to be able to create something that creates chaos and then develop the skill to subdue the chaos it creates. He says, be fruitful, increase in number, fill the earth, subdue it. But then he says, rule. Rule. I say that's it. In some people's mind, I'm winning. But winning isn't the same as ruling. I say I'm not ruling. I'm not exercising, operating in dominion. I'm not ruling, so since I'm not ruling, I'm not experiencing human flourishing. I'm fruitful, but not flourishing. What's another word for that? Thriving. I'm winning in some areas, but I wasn't thriving in the areas that matter. Then I got a revelation, man. I could have success and not sacrifice my sanity. I could have fruitfulness and not sacrifice my friends, my family, and my fun. And at this point, I ended up teaching this about 4 years later. At this point, I got a revelation called the principle of exception. And I think about 3 years after this, I taught a series called Water Walkers on this principle of exception. Because I started looking at people in my space and I say, the life I'm trying to have, most of the people in my space don't. So now I can look at them and determine what's possible for me. Or I can say what happens with them doesn't dictate and determine what can happen with me. God can make exceptions. And so this principle of exception was birthed in this season, that just because it's not normal doesn't mean it's not possible. Am I making sense? So I said, man, I want to thrive in life. And I wrote this down years ago. Here it is. A thriving life possesses the right peace, the right purpose, the right people, and the right profit. Right peace, right purpose, right people, and the right profit. In most spaces, people are rich in some of those areas and poor in some of those areas. I said, I want my cup overflowing in all four. I want my cup to be running over with peace, running over with purpose. Come on. Running over with the right people. Ooh, Lord, I ain't got time. That's a completely different conversation right there. Because when I started making pivots, I realized that some people actually loved me genuinely. but they loved an inferior, dysfunctional version of me. Y'all, I feel this side. I like this side. When I start setting boundaries and stop overextending myself, I was amazed at the reaction I got from people who were upset that I was actually making decisions that was best for me. So if my change of season changed your love for me, then my expectation of you now has to change. So I went through some things with relationships and started teaching a series on it called Put People in Their Place. Sat on that for years, and then a few years later I turned it into a book called Relational Intelligence. Y'all missing. I hope y'all reading what I'm writing, because some of you have seen the stuff that I've done. I'm pulling back the curtain and showing you that some of the stuff I produce came from my pain. And I need you to make up your mind that you refuse to waste your pain. Oh, I say, I'm gonna go through all of this in relationships. I'm gonna get paid off that. Yeah, I'm gonna take all these lessons that I learned. I'm gonna get paid. Devil, you got to pay me for this pain. I feel something getting ready to break in here. I said, devil, you got to pay me for this pain.